Morning, everybody. This is Shannon with Shannon Smith's Auto Appraisals Estimates coming at you again. Today's video really doesn't have nothing to do with auto appraisals, but I figured since I'm a licensed adjuster and whatnot, I'd like to educate you on how injuries work and how complicated things can get real fast. Um, like to just give a personal recommendation, coming from Shannon himself. I'm not a spokesperson. I'm not an attorney. Not a doctor, just somebody that knows the business. But for these questions, I would recommend, Irvin and Irvin. They can definitely answer your questions. Their phone number and information is on the screen. And any of really real questions, definitely give an attorney a call and seek legal counsel because things can get out of hand real fast. So to start out with, just a basic accident. Let's just say, you know, you're rear-ended somebody. Oh, you got rear-ended by somebody, and so you're sitting at a stoplight, and someone just blasted you, boom, and you know you're hurt. So even though someone's at fault for hurting you, Florida law, you have to file through your insurance first. We call that PIP or personal injury protection. It typically pays 80% of your medical bills, 60% lost wages. It all depends on what kind of deductible you have too. Sometimes when you got the policy, you elected $1,000 deductible or something like that. So you definitely want to read your policy and your declaration page to see what coverages you have. So, with the new law, this is 2024. You have 14 days to seek medical attention once you're in an accident. I recommend to some of my customers, I'll walk up on a car and it's just a bad accident. And, I could tell the hurt. They can't even tie their own shoes, So I'm like, you need to go get checked out. You only got so many days. Sometimes I'm seeing the car and it's 5 days in already. So now, you only have 14 days from the day of the accident. It won't change things much if you go past the 14 days. It just changes your PIP coverage from 10,000 limit to I think 2,500, and so the at fault party can use that against you. So if you don't seek treatment enough, they'll be like, "Hey, you should have got 80%, but since you didn't go to the doctor, you know, now you're only getting 2,500, and we're not responsible for that. Shame on you, basically." Um, so going into it, I made a little diagram and just gives you an example. Let's just say, you got hit, you got hurt, you know, and you got everything assessed, your permanency and all that stuff. And the total amount of your claim is $10,000, right? So your insurance is going to pay 80% less any deductible right out the gate. So let's just say you have a $0 deductible, it's going to pay $8,000. So the at fault party, they pay the remainder, which is in this example is only $2,000. So that being said, let's say that person didn't have any injury protection, okay, and that's when it's very important that you have uninsured motorists. Let me tell you, there's a lot of people without proper insurance, and in Florida, you don't have to carry injury protection until you hit and hurt somebody, which makes no dang sense. I think everybody should have to carry injury protection because nobody has 10 or 20 or $50,000 in their back pocket, if you hurt somebody. Give you a personal example. I had a claim I was doing, and gentleman was rear-ended so hard that his mirror popped off and popped him in the lip, busted his lip. He said he was okay, whatever. And I was like, hey, man, your lip's still busted up. I mean, you got to take aspirin. You got to deal with that. It's probably going to leave a scar. How about I make this go away for, $1,500 settlement? And that was my job. My job was to close that door, You have 4 years in the statute of limitations and to sue somebody. And as an adjuster at the time, my job is to close that door so it won't be open for the remaining of the 4 years. And I've settled a lot of injury cases while I appraise cars for insurance companies. So, they just want to settle the claim, man. So I always recommend seeking legal counsel because things can be even more complicated than that. Had another story real quick. House had roommates. Guy loaned out his truck, got a girl in the passenger front seat. They're out partying, whatever. They get into some type of high-speed chase because they hit a car and they took off. And they end up hitting a tree head-on, hardcore. Girl wasn't wearing her seatbelt. Half her face got broken. Shands Hospital had to put them all back together again. And, I had to go to the house to get the other roommates' insurance. And those roommates were like, well, this is not my car, and I don't have to pay, and blah, blah, blah. I wasn't involved. Well, yeah, you do. In the state of Florida, whoever lives in your house, that this leaves you open for what we call excess exposure. So, if you have 4 roommates in the house, you have 4 insurance policies, and that's another reason why you have to seek an attorney because, they'll do household searches, or they should, to make sure that, do they have an umbrella policy, or their roommates in there, and so forth, so things can get really complicated. Moving forward, just touching base, even like on the Uber situation, had a customer and it confused the heck out of me because I'm like, call the customer and I'm like, hey, where's your car at? And he's like, it's not my car, it's an Uber driver. And I was like, what do you mean it's the Uber driver? And he was like, yeah, I was in an Uber when he got into a wreck. And come to find out, the Uber driver did get into a wreck. He was at fault, ran a red light or whatever. And I didn't have no insurance. So my customer sitting in the back seat, he owned a car, he had collision coverage, and his insurance had to pay because he was in the car. A little food for thought when you're in an Uber or whatnot. That's the risk you take. Taxis carry like $1 million policies, but Uber is whatever that person can afford. And let's face it, if they're Ubering, they probably can't afford too much. So your insurance could be at play, and you're simply just trying to get a ride to the bar or the movies or whatever, trying to not pay for a taxi. It comes with a risk, But I hope this information helps you. And again, this was just more of an informative, I'm not nobody, of importance, just somebody that knows a little bit about the game, and I've settled my share of claims. So definitely if you're hurt from the accident, I definitely recommend you seeking an attorney because it's way too complicated for anybody. And I don't know about you, but, my parents never taught me anything about auto insurance. I figured it out as I went. And as they didn't pay or got denied or, it costed me money. And then 20 years of it in the business, I learned a lot. So I'd like to share that with everybody. You guys take care, and I'm going to try to make some more videos. Feel free to shoot me comments, ideas you want to talk about. I'll try to answer them the best I can, make a little short video. I've handled it all from severed hands, jewelry on the severed hand, fatalities, multiple competing. That means a bunch of cars involved, and workers' comp, and, commercial vehicles and all that craziness. So I'm a wealth of knowledge, and shoot me some comments or questions, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.